about that. She's prepared to talk about that. So I'll turn the floor first over to Jarrett.
Well, I want to thank everyone for being here today, certainly those of you from the activist community and members of the media. We obviously are going through a very challenging time here in Arizona, particularly the plight of undocumented students and the tremendous burden that they carry with them having to pay out-of-state tuition if they're enrolled in or pursuing higher education. It was very important to me to call this meeting today to be able to discuss the issues at hand. I can say that I was disturbed by the arrests last week. I feel that people should be free to petition government officials and various departments without fear of being arrested or detained because of their views and positions. So I wanted to call this meeting today so that we could come together in a more civil space and engage in the kind of constructive dialogue that I think needed to take place initially around the issue of the lawsuit and the issue of the out-of-state tuition, again, which has been a tremendous burden to DREAMrs who are simply trying to educate themselves so that they can be fully enfranchised in our society. So I'm very happy today to welcome so many of my friends from the community to the table, including individuals who were arrested last week in a safe environment where we know no one will be arrested for exercising their First Amendment rights and for engaging in a candid and serious discussion about civil rights, the rights of undocumented students, and where we go from here because of this lawsuit. We didn't come here to make lemonade or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or pat each other on the back. We are friends. We don't agree necessarily on every single issue out there, but I think we have respect for each other. I certainly have the utmost respect for everyone at this table, and I think we can agree to disagree and leave here on opposite sides of the issue, but no one can say that we didn't come together to have this discussion in a face-to-face manner without double talk or a battle of press releases and PR pros. So with that, I think we can open the meeting. We'll go around the table. Everyone can introduce themselves and how they are tied to this issue of the out-of-state
Before
tuition.
we do that, maybe I will say a few things first. First of all, and I'm sure Jared would agree, no one was arrested for the content of the views they were expressing. As Attorney General, it's partly my job to enforce the law, constitutional right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. At the time, I was in San Diego giving a speech, but I'm sure anyone arrested was doing something unlawful. Otherwise, they would not have been arrested. And before that, I actually met with 60 people in a larger room across the way, and we had, I thought, a very good, healthy dialogue at that time. So I've always been willing to engage in dialogue. And any arrest that occurred didn't occur because of the content of anybody's opinion, what the law provides or what the police officers at the... Before we begin the discussion, I probably should let you know, as Attorney General, it's not my job to set policy, it's my job only to enforce. So, and I have a lot of respect, desire of people to obtain an education. As some of you know, I was for 24 years the state superintendent of schools. As the superintendent of schools, one of my highest priorities, making sure that people who came here from Spanish-speaking countries got as good an education as possible, and I put a lot of money and effort to our ability to teach people English so that they... I have all the sympathy in the world for people obtaining. The lawsuit that we're talking about is because of the duty to enforce the law, and everybody is free to legislature to change the law. And there are other alternatives to deal with the situation. It's my understanding that ASU has set up a fund, not here legally, but and all of those opportunities are open. Make it clear that nothing that I do indicates the law as it is, the legislature and the governor to actually...
That, we'll go around the table, we'll introduce ourselves, and then...
Yeah, if you like to, it'd be fine.
My name...
I certainly respect that, and I'm certainly opposed to anything that's motivated by hatred. And also, let me say, the last thing in the world I would ever want would be for anyone to be ashamed of speaking Spanish. I myself have been an ardent student of Spanish for the last couple of years and reached the point where I can do all my interviews on Univision and Telemundo in Spanish. So, you know, I certainly don't want people to feel ashamed of Spanish. I think speaking more than one language is not only beneficial in terms of the language, but there are lots of studies that show it's good for the developing the brain so that you're better in other subjects as well. There was one other thing. You'd said you thought we were interpreting the law. I want to assure you that we brought this case because we felt compelled by the law. And there was no desire on the part of this office to lean in one direction or another. We would not have brought the case unless we felt compelled. And I don't know, Leslie, maybe you have anything useful to add as far as the idea that the law really compelled us to bring this case in. Well, Arizona has its own statute, so what other states have done might not be. The driver's license is a different issue, but well, I just want you to know that there was no desire on our part to interpret the law in one way for ideological reasons. We felt compelled to bring the lawsuit because we thought the law was clear and it was not subject of a different interpretation. That was our legal view.
The climate of what happens on our community college, and I want to encourage the whole group to hear me when I say this, in the civil rights of everybody in the state of Arizona. Feel there are violations of people's civil rights. Community activism is great. Believe me, I'm the first person to go to the front lines. But we have to begin a paper trail, and we have to file our complaints for violations of people's civil rights in relation to what they're experiencing in the education system, to build a case and the kind of momentum that we'll need to bring about the kind of change that we want to see happening in these campuses. It's okay to bring our grievances forward, but a formal complaint has its value. And that's not to say that we'll be satisfied simply by filing a complaint, a written complaint. We obviously want to exercise our rights as citizens and non-citizens and activists, as patriots. We want to do what we can to protect the civil rights, educational rights of others. But it is incumbent upon us to file those formal complaints when we feel that the atmosphere is as such.
If we can, some of the students have to go to class, so
yeah,
if
that's
do
fine. We
brief
can
introductions and then
fast
we
forward
get the
yeah.
conversation. So thank you so much
Good
for the
idea.
Sure, and I do want to hear
information.
from the students most of
Yeah.
all. And we are having a candid discussion, so I'm going to break in here to kind of get to the heart of the issue. I feel many of us want to know around the table where your office stands on DREAMrs. Are they a group of people in this country that you want to see remain here? And if so, and this may be a question that your assistant may be able to answer, how do you reconcile wanting this population, DREAMrs, to remain here in Arizona and in the country, and to push for some kind of reform that allows them to assimilate and integrate into our society legally, and at the same time uphold or pursue a lawsuit that charges them out-of-state tuition? That's a fair question, and I would like an answer.
The answer is, it's really not my job as Attorney General to take positions on substantive issues of that kind. My job is to enforce the law. The legislature passes laws, and everyone is free to go to the legislature and make the case to the legislature and the governor, who has to sign laws. But as the Attorney General, it would be improper for me to be influenced by my view of the substance of a law. My job is only
privilege that legislation. That sounds something that I'm not telling you not to do that, but give us.
Well, thank you for your service and thank you for expressing yourself. Vice President of.
My name is Beto Soto. Just also graduated in May from the University of Florida, from Nogales. Got my PhD there in May. And I'm the field director for Citizens for Better Arizona.
And I'm here on behalf of citizens. But on a more personal note, I'm here because I am attacked. So as you know, we are here to voice our opposition to the lawsuit that you have for the crippling effect that it has on the young people and are legally qualified for deferred should not have. And we understand that you are a man who asked from your work with the Department of Education, you of all people, from Manuel, about how important it is to and what an effect it has not on just them. And you said trying to better their education other than words, leading these young people out of their opportunity to drop this lawsuit to do so in a very timely manner.
Okay. Well, our view, I think I explained a little earlier that
our question is very clear, sir. Most respect, we'd like to know and to drop the lawsuit against Maricopa. That's the reason for our meeting today.
Right. The answer is no. And the reason is that we feel compelled by the law and our duty to enforce the law. And I think I explained earlier that this did not reflect an interpretation.
Excuse me, Mr.
It's such a
Horne,
cheating of
but
young
that
people.
is
We're gonna
legal
maintain-
gobbledygook.
We got to maintain
I
some
don't
decorum
think you're
in this
any
meeting.
position to be lecturing us. And you cheated on your wife, cheated the law in a hit and run. So I'm not sure I understand where you get off. And now you're trying to out
This
of
is
their
a friend of yours?
education.
If
And
I
there
can
is-
intercede.
Excuse me a minute,
No,
Mr.
you know, I
Muffin.
called this meeting so that we could have a respectful discussion, not
This-
not to engage
This is
not to
outrageous.
engage.
We are one
Not
of the
to
only
engage
two states
in-
in the United States treating DREAMrs like this. This is an outrage. This
In my
cannot continue.
opinion,
It's the
madam,
cheating of
you're
young
hurting your
people.
cause.
This is outrageous, and I cannot still.
There's a
And be
way
quiet.
to ask this man about
He
this
just
situation.
told
Let
you.
me
Muffin.
No.
He's addressing
let me
He
speak
just
to
said you know.
let me
No,
speak
you're
to
not
your issue.
speaking
I'm going to
for
speak
me.
to your issue. He is
You're not
an he's an
speaking.
he's
But we
an
did not
he
come to speak to you. We
he-
came to speak to
We
Mr.
came to
Horne.
speak to
Don't
Mr.
do
he
respecting from us. They're addressing
is
him.
he is an immigrant to this country.
Yes, but we are not
He-
asking
he
for your
understands
response. Excuse me,
to
sir. We
some
are asking
degree
to speak to
what-
the Attorney General.
what these young people
we
are
came
going
here to
through.
speak to the Attorney General, sir.
This is
With
a
all due
meeting with
respect.
Mr. Horne.
He is
And
the
if you
Attorney
challenge
General.
him on the grounds of politics, you are not going to win. This is a
This
battle
is-
of morality, and we have to maintain the moral high ground.
Well, surely
The question
cheating
is-
a
the
moral
question
issue.
is-
political
Let him
The
purposes.
talk.
question is
Let-
whether or not he supports
Let him talk.
the
Let him
law
talk.
itself.
He just said.
Reverend
the
Muffin,
law
just
is
let it
not-
talk.
The law is a cover. That's the problem.
Yes,
The
he
law
does.
is a cover for racism. The
I
law is a
understand that.
cover-
What I'm
the
telling
law
you,
is
though-
a cover for blatant oppression.
And you talk about
outrageous
moral
oppression of a
issues.
group of
Cheating
people. And yeah, that
young
is a
people out of
moral issue.
education is a moral issue.
What I'm trying
We
to
will
tell
not-
you
we
is
want
this.
to hear
Yes,
his
you're
response,
cheating the
sir.
dreamers out of their
We do not
dreams,
care
out of
for
their
your
education,
response.
Out of their access.
Then why would you
That's
come
what
to a
it is.
meeting that I called?
I have no
sorry,
idea
Mr.
who you
Muffin.
are until today. I
We're
came to
talking
speak to the Attorney
We're
General.
talking to Mr. Horne,
The
please.
fact of the matter is,
We appreciate you
what
setting up the
I'm
meeting,
trying
but we
to
have
say,
questions
if you
for
could
Mr.
just
Horne.
please maintain a little silence around the table for a minute. What I'm trying to say to you is this. We have a moral argument that we're trying to make here, not a political argument. We're not trying to talk about
This is
whether
a
or
moral argument.
Excuse me.
This is about
Excuse me.
education for our
Let
children.
us
Yeah,
talk
and
to
you-
Mr.
you-
Horne.
you-
Sir,
you're
can
absolutely
Mr. Horne
right.
speak? Can
Let's talk to
Mr.
Mr.
Horne
Horne.
speak?
you
Let us talk to
you
Mr.
are
Horne.
mixing a serious
No,
civil
we're not
rights
mixing
issue
anything.
with
Excuse me.
terrible
Reverend Muffin, please, with all due
partisanship.
respect, we
No.
need to talk to Mr. Horne.
We have come to speak to the Attorney General.
This lady,
yourself.
this lady has abused this meeting by making it to something political.
Yes, she has.
I'm sorry,
And
but
when it should have been
we-
about the issue, the issue is the lawsuit. And
The
it was
lawsuit
not
is
to be,
very important.
it was not
And
to be
we feel,
hijacked
we
for
feel on
political
a very
purposes.
moral issue is cheating young people out of opportunity.
I understand
These
that.
young people deserve this opportunity.
There are that will
Here you
gobbledygook.
get-
There are two
Madam, you just
former
wanna do-
Attorney General choice
You have a choice.
yourself have made.
This is
no
an
other
opportunity,
and there
sir.
is still time.
We're here for
Do
today.
you
Right.
personally this law and what it stands for?
here
I'm
to
not,
talk to
I'm not
him.
expressing an opinion on the law. What I'm saying is that we did not interpret the law of an ideological outcome. Felt compelled by the law.
See
The
that-
problem, sir, is that
denying
the
an
students that we're talking about,
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I think you're making a substantive argument about the policy. And that's an argument to be made to the legislature or to the governor. My job is to enforce the law as it is written.
this lawsuit is
That's
unnecessary.
education the dream.
Mr.
Yeah.
Horne, my question, just a
Education.
second. My question to you is, and we deserve to know, our entire community deserves to know, on the reason why I'm saying that is, if you personally disagree with what
Don't
it stands
give him
for,
an out.
I'm not giving him an out.
Don't give him an
What
out.
I'm telling him,
Yeah.
what I'm asking him is,
I see what's coming.
what I'm asking him is, if he morally
Don't raise your
disagrees
voice to
with
her.
it,
I see
and if
what's
he does
coming.
not support the law,
I see
then
what's
I
coming.
want him to find the courage of his convictions to
Yeah.
halt the
What-
lawsuit
what
and
you
do
want
what
to
we came
do,
here to do.
What you want, and shame on
Ma'am,
you.
no,
for giving
I'm
him
not
cover.
giving him that
This is
cover.
outrageous.
I am asking him if he has the courage of his convictions. It's one thing to ask him if he's going to withdraw the lawsuit. It's another thing for me as a civil rights leader to ask him if he disagrees with the law. Does he have the courage of his convictions to drop the lawsuit and take a stance for civil rights? That's what I'm trying to ask the Attorney General.
Well, I think you've posed a false dichotomy, really.
You and I are probably closer in life.
They're not being sent to gas chambers, so I don't think that's a good comparison.
Well, but they are sent being,
I
and
think
this
you've made
is
an
their
I think you made
community.
an inappropriate comparison, though.
Not, I'm telling you how
You
I
have-
feel.
You just
I'm
want to use
telling-
this for
have-
political purposes. You know,
have
this is really not the
answered our
reason.
I'm telling you how I feel in my
You have
classroom.
answered our
When those
question
students are
already.
being, to the financial aid office, you know,
Well, I thought ASU has,
I have seen a memo in my organization that this can be filed.
well, that didn't come
against
from my
them.
office, so you may have an argument with the community college. All I'm saying is that
Rita, I think
ASU,
he's already answered. We have our answer. I'm not going anywhere.
right, mm-hmm.
Manuel, I want to thank you so much. I think we heard from Mr. Horne already. His answer is no. We came here to present him an opportunity to Mr. Horne to love the DREAMrs, He said right now he has all the sympathy in the world for people to get an education. That's a direct quote. And we came here to offer him that opportunity, for him to drop this lawsuit and take this option. Sadly enough, we're confronted yet again with Cheater Horne. We're confronted yet again with Cheater Horne, and we care so much about the DREAMrs and the education that we're not going to leave this table. I'm glad we got some water, because we're going to stay here until you drop this lawsuit. So thank you very much. If you want to join us until you drop it, we're going to be here. So let's make ourselves comfortable. We're going to be here because Manuel, he did 2 tours in Afghanistan to defend our country. Now he's here to defend his sister. And he's going to stay here because Leslie has to go to class. But she can no longer understand if she's going to come next semester to school. Her ambiguities it's not allowing her to concentrate in school now. She cannot concentrate because she doesn't know she's going to be able to continue education. We got folks in here that we care so much about this, and we're not going to leave this table. We're going to be here. And it's sadly enough, you were presented with 2 options. This to take the moral high ground. It's a moral imperative that you drop this. But you chose this, and it's a very, very sad reality. Very sad reality. So we're going to be here, folks. We're going to stay here in this table. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We're going to stay in this table. Yeah?
We came here today with a moral challenge for the Attorney General to decide to drop this lawsuit and to respect these students as human beings and honor their civil rights. We came here today to have a civil discussion. We came here today to restart talks. We came here today to restart a dialogue. We did not come here today to engage in a sit-in. We did not come here today to engage in direct action. We did not come in here today to engage in civil
Excuse me,
disobedience.
sir, we came here today to get an answer from Mr.
You know,
We're going to stay here. Thank you so much. We're just going to stay here.
Wait,
That's why we're
no
here.
one's
Join
arguing
us if you like.
No one's arguing that. No one's arguing
We're
that.
going to
I
sit
think,
down, brother,
I
and deal
think-
with this.
I
We're
think
gonna-
the
this is a
Attorney
civil rights
General-
moment right here.
But
We're
please
gonna-
has-
don't speak. Please don't speak for us.
I think
Please
the
do not
Attorney
speak on our
General
behalf.
has a choice to make. If he does not support the law and he is against it, then he has to find the courage of his convictions to drop the lawsuit. And that's what we're here to challenge.
He's
And
already told
Yes,
us.
he
He
does.
has
I-
not.
Let's
There is
let's
no.
not debate with him.
I understand that, but it's important. It's
you so much.
important if you're
Stay
going to
here.
have accountability in civil rights to ask the question and then wage the campaign. We had a chance today to ask the question. We had a chance today to come in here non-violently and peacefully and ask the question. You know, I think today was an opportunity. I think today was an opportunity to do that. I'm not saying we shouldn't come back. I'm not saying we shouldn't sit in. I'm not saying we shouldn't picket. I'm not saying people shouldn't go to jail. But I called this today with your leader, Randy Perez, to have a candid dialogue with the Attorney General. I, unfortunately, like many other people that work and exist in our society and agree with the positions that we all share, not prepared today to start a sit-in in the Attorney General's office.
Bye-bye.
No,
You can leave
no.
now, or you can join us.
And you shouldn't use these type of tactics. It's not right.
Please do not speak on our behalf.
It's
Speak
not
on your
right.
behalf.
I'm not
Let
speaking
it-
on your behalf. I'm speaking on behalf of the traditional civil rights community.
We got all day.
This
We're
is
staying
this
here
is this
until
is
he
not
drops it, so-
this is not right. These are not the right tactics to exercise. If you want to sit in, give notice and come sit in
Okay, I'm
and
gonna-
stand your
I'm
ground.
going to take
But
it
don't
to the Attorney
use a
General.
surprise
Excuse
attack
me. Come on.
when we've called for a civil dialogue and a civil conversation. It's
Bye-bye.
not right.
Everything else.
Yet again,
right.
as we know,
It's not.
we came here to make him the DREAMrs hero. He could show us that he loves education, that those 20-some years that he spent on the school board, we came here to offer him the moral high ground. This is a moral imperative that we have right now. But again, we were confronted with Cheater Horne. Cheater Horne. Right now, he's showing us that he cheated on his wife. He cheated the voters, and now he has to pay $400,000. Cheated on a hit and run. And now Cheater Horne wants to cheat the DREAMrs away from their education for arrest. We haven't been warned that we're going to get arrested, so we're going to stay here. We're here until he drops. That's yours.
Okay, if you want, so I want to tell Howard,
Are they
I'm
gonna
walking
come
over
and-
there right now.
Are they going to come and warn us? We're going to leave on our reconnaissance. Anybody decides to stay, I wanna thank. I was arrested last week. Moral imperative that he drops a lawsuit. Thank you. Tip of the hat for you. As well as Charles. Charles was outstanding. Ma'am. You can ask for leave.
Okay, you need to leave the building right now, okay?
I understand.
Okay, if you don't leave, you're gonna be arrested.
Under arrest.
First, you're going to arrest. Set your phone up. Set your phone up.
Where's?
You stand up. Stand up.
Excuse me, can somebody take this and give this?
I can give it to Randy right now. All right, guys, getting up.
Good enough.